Good morning. Welcome to the Non-State AGPIP Deposit Withdrawal webinar. We're going over the deposit and withdrawal form for all AGPIP non-state agencies. So when we begin, we're going to go over the instructions. These will be published, and the live examples will also be available for review. When you are making investments in equity and bonds, the participant must provide at least 5 business days prior notice to the last business day of the calendar month. So when there is a holiday at the end of the month, you will need to include an extra day earlier to make sure we receive both the form and the wires in. When you are making deposits into SIF, they can be made on any day during the month, but they must be made by 10 a.m. in order to receive same-day credit. That goes for all deposits. If they are made anytime after 10 a.m., they will be credited the following business day. We do need to review when these hit in order to process your transactions. So please be sure that they are done timely and within 5 business days before the last day of the month. Any transactions into and out of BIF will be processed on the last business day of the calendar month, and will settle T+2. We're going to talk about the transaction types. We have deposit withdrawals and reallocations. Deposits are when you're adding new money. Withdrawals are when you want the money returned to you. And reallocation is when you're moving existing and or new monies between accounts. We'll go over these more in depth as we go through this webinar. When you are using the published form, it will have a drop-down menu where you can select between the 3 types. If you're using a hard copy, you will have to type in the different types that you are looking to do: deposit, withdrawal, or reallocation. Moving on, we're going to talk about entity name. The entity name will match the enrollment documentation materials you originally provided to us. It should be on your W-9 as well as your enrollment documents and your trust documents as well. So this full entity name should be listed here along with your STIF account number and your requested amount. Your STIF account number should be an internal account number that you should be able to locate. It was originally sent to you by the banking operations team. If you're unable to locate this number, you can contact their help desk and they should be able to provide that number to you. Moving on to requested amount, this will be the total amount of your transaction. If you're making a new deposit, the total amount of that deposit should equal the requested amount. If you're doing a withdrawal, the total amount of your withdrawal should equal the requested amount. If you're doing a reallocation between existing accounts, that should match the total requested amount. And if you're doing a reallocation with existing funds and new monies, you would add in the new monies on top of the existing funds. That will become your requested amount, and that total should equal the total of your deposit and withdrawal for a reallocation. Moving on to authorized signatory. Your authorized signatory was originally sent to us on your signature card when you enrolled. Make sure that the person that is signing this is among that card. If you have any changes in authorized signatories, it is your responsibility to update that card and get that copy sent back to the agpip@nctreasurer.com mailbox. The original will need to be sent to Mark Carlson in banking operations. So it is your responsibility to make sure that is updated. Make sure that there's an authorized signatory's name is printed on this section. You'll also need their title, telephone number, and email. Again, this title will be for the authorized signatory, their telephone number, and the email for the authorized signatory. They must sign this actual form and execute it in order for us to process this transaction. If the person is not one of the people listed on your bank card initially, we will not be able to process this until a new bank card has this person listed. We're going to move on now to the deposit section. Again, I want to verify that notification of deposits into equity and bond must be made by the 5th business day prior to month end. Let's start by reminding you again that all deposits into equity and bond must be made by the 5th business day prior to month end. We're going to talk about the date deposited. This is the day you actually wire in the funds for your deposit. So the date of your deposit of the wire in should be listed here. Again, if it is after 10 a.m., please list the next business day so we know when we can look for those funds. If we are not able to see those funds, we will not be able to complete this transaction. Once we add the date deposited, we want to talk about the allocation, how you want those funds deposited, whether they are to be deposited into equity, bond, or STIF, or allocated across all three. Again, the deposit allocation total should match the requested amount total at the top of the form. Step 2, all state non-state agencies must initiate a wire from your bank account in order to transfer those funds and complete the form located at the Wire In Without CMCS, and a copy of that will go to the SBU forms at nctreasurer.com. It's very important to make sure you complete those step 2 and step 3 to make sure the funds are transferred over where we were able to view that the funds are available for our transaction. And last reminder again, the wire in and the form must be sent to us by the 5th business day prior to month end. Unless there is a holiday, then you will need to account an additional day earlier for any holiday. Moving on to the withdrawal section, we don't have to worry about the deposit date. All we need to worry about is the allocation of how you want the funds removed from the accounts to be returned to you. Again, a withdrawal is funds that are being sent back to you for your use, not a reallocation between funds. So if you want money returned to you, all you need to do is, in the withdrawal section, use the allocation box to determine what funds you want the money returned to you from, whether it's equity, bond, or STIF, or an allocation between all three. The total should match the total requested amount at the top. And again, 5 business days prior to month end is when we need to have this form, and the wire out will be sent to you. Transactions will be done on the last business day. Trade settlement is T+2. The only difference is when we're doing reallocations, if you are doing a reallocation between equity and or bond, there may be additional time where we may do the transaction earlier to the last day of the month, or have additional trade settlement days at the beginning of the next month. So it could be anywhere from T+4 or 5, or instead of the last business day, we may choose to do it earlier in order to the settlement to be the same timing as all the other transactions. That is only for reallocations between equity and bond. So when you're doing withdrawal, when you do get the funds returned, you do have to transfer the funds from SIF to your bank account, completing the form at the USD-wire PDF listed on this form. That link will take you on the published site to the form you need to complete in order to get those funds returned to you. Moving on, we're going to go show you the live examples of the deposit, withdrawal, and reallocations, so you could see how a form is actually completed for each style. So we'll start off with deposits. You'll fill out the transaction type as deposit. Your entity name will not say non-state agency, but your actual state agency name or non-state agency name. Your STIF account number should be a 7-digit number, and your requested amount. The authorized signatures information should be completed. The date deposited will be the wire in date, and the allocation will be spread across the accounts as you desire. So in this particular case, we have 25, 50, and 25 put into equity, bond, and short-term cash, and the total is $100,000. The requested amount is $100,000, and this completes the form. Once it's executed, you send it to AGPIP at nctreasurer.com 5 business days prior to month end, and you are all set. As long as you also initiate your wire from your bank account and complete the wire in without CMCS that is sent to SBU forms. Once all 3 of those steps are completed and this form is emailed to AGPIP, the transaction will be acknowledged and completed. Moving on to the withdrawal example. Again, we're going to pick the transaction type is withdrawal. Your non-state agency name will actually be listed, your 7-digit STIF account number, requested amount, and the authorized signatory. You will then complete the allocation section. In this example, again, it's $100,000, 50, 30, and 20 being withdrawn out of equity, bond, and STIF. The $100,000 is shown at the requested amount at the top. This will be sent to AGPIP deposit AGPIP at nctreasurer.com, and you'll transfer your funds from your STIF to your bank account, completing the USD wire form in the highlighted section. Moving on to reallocation, we're going to use an example of existing funds first. So we're taking $70,000 out of your equity and STIF account, 50 and 20 respectively. We're depositing it into your bond account, and the total amount requested should equal 70. It will be a little different when you're doing a reallocation with existing and new monies. In this example, we'll use the same existing 70,000, but add in new monies of 30,000. So your requested amount will show 100,000. We're putting the 100,000 deposited into bonds, so that number will show 100,000, and the withdrawal will show, as it did on the previous example, 50 out of equity, 20 out of short-term, for a total of 70 money being moved out of existing funds and 30 being added into bond. So as you can see in this example, the withdrawal total does not match the deposit total because this indicates we are adding new monies of $30,000. The date deposited, again, should show the date you wire in those new monies, and this needs to be sent into the AGPIP at nctreasurer.com mailbox. If you have any questions outside of this webinar, feel free to email us at mailbox as well. Do not forget to send the copies of these forms, wire-ins without CMCS, to the sbu.forms mailbox. They do need to have a copy of that as well. We hope that this webinar was informative. Again, if you have any existing questions, feel free to email us at agpip@nctreasurer.com, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation today. Thank you.